Kicking Pit Media. Bruh, I gotta put some respect on a band, yeah? A band I personally enjoyed. A band that got me into metal music. A band that opened up a gateway for me to access more extreme forms of alternate music. Metalheads deny the existence of this band. Metalheads shun this band. And before you say, no, well, of course, they've got a crazy fan base and blah, blah, blah. If you're into death metal, if you're into, cavernous sounding, guttural, toilet vocal nonsense, yeah? Respectfully, I like that. You know the people around you are gonna look at you funny. The close-minded elitists are gonna look at you funny if you proclaim that this is a great band. Let me emphasize the message here. I'm gonna make this controversial. I believe this is possibly, arguably, one of the greatest. Or let's open up the discussion that this could be one of the greatest metal bands to have been. Underappreciated, you tell me. I didn't follow them up until the point of the recent circumstance that has sort of put a halt to this brand. But I can tell you what I have heard of the band, and I can tell you my experience with the band, and I can tell you that I feel within the world of metal, they have been miscategorized as an act that isn't worthy of being up there with the heavy hitters. What band am I talking about? This one's for the metalheads, yeah? This is going to be a polarizing one. Bing! The Black Dahlia Murder, yes? Melodic death metal. Posercore. Deathcore, arguably, some would say, in relation to the vocal line. I've heard some people say, nah, I can't stand the high vocals and so forth. I've heard it all. Metalheads who are involved in a deeper degree of their musical journey, their musical pilgrimage, will deny the idea that this is actually a good band. And it's surprising, and it makes me curious as to why, because it's a great metal band, and it's polished like any band that is worthy of garnering the resource to have a good studio production should be. It sells, they've got merchandising, they've established a great brand. The band is consistent within the realms of the music and the imagery. This band excels in lyrical content. This band excels in the melodic death / deathcore adjacent riffage. The drummer, I had a quick browse on Wikipedia prior to this. I'm not too familiar with the band members aside from Trevor. But as far as the drumming is concerned on the records, aligned, if not, surpasses the quality of the guitar work. So consistent that you'll put a Black Dahlia track on and you know what's going to come from there on in. Very consistent. Arguably boring. I could hear somebody say that if you don't like the sound this band manifest, then you're gonna have trouble listening to the next record or the next record or the next track or two tracks from now because of how consistent they are within the sound. I've seen this band a couple of times and they've been excellent both times. I got put onto this band through a single entitled I'm Charming from the record Miasma in high school by a lad who was a year older than me. And he was into Bring Me the Horizon, he was into Architects. I mean, we come from England. So these bands were, doing the rounds on the local circuit. This was prior to any LP being put out by these acts, Black Dahlia Murder, yeah. They had put records out, but this guy was into Bring Me, Architects, all sorts of crazy stuff. This was the MySpace era. We were hearing bands like Annotations of an Autopsy. We were hearing Dr. Acula, Job for a Cowboy. All of these acts were, Dr. Acula's a little bit random in the mix there as far as quality is concerned. But these acts were just like working off of EPs at this point. And Black Dahlia Murder was provided to me via LimeWire under the title I'm Charming from the Miasma record. And I was blown away by the high vocals and then the low vocals, the spectrum and duality of that quality vocal performance and the intensity and extremity of such atop of the instrumental I was given. And Metalheads, and I'm not speaking on you and I'm not speaking on your friends, but I'm speaking on existing from a young man into the man I am now, coming up and hearing people talk about bands. This band's never referenced. This band should be, in my opinion, in conversation as one of the greatest metal bands. Yeah, they didn't exist from the 80s, so, you can't say they're like the roots. But the idea that you can't appreciate their consistency, their quality, and the genuine extremity of their metal, they're not slam. They're not black metal blast beats 24 hours a day. They're not on some dodgy independent shit label, some trendy shit label, right? They're mainstream. But that doesn't detract from the fact that they were performing of a better standard than most metal musicians. They were better instrumentalists than most metal musicians. They had better lyrical content than the majority of metal bands. The vocal performance was way better and had more variety and character than most metal bands. They were putting out records more frequently than most metal bands, of a higher standard than most metal bands. Yet for some particular reason, there is some repulsion from this brand that has these elitists flee. And it's bizarre to me. It's bizarre to me because it'd be easy for me to sort of be swept away in the emotional whirlpool that is provoked by these people and engagement with them over this band. It's hard for me to put my glasses back on, my metaphorical glasses, and observe the act as to what I genuinely think the act is, and that's a great band. What more needs to be said? I'm not going to talk about Trevor and all this and that. I thought he was a great frontman. I thought he was charismatic. I personally don't like the jokier elements of the band. I never really paid attention to the music videos and such, so if that was your gateway into the band, I can understand if you don't like, them running around in gorilla suits and doing all this and that and having too many jokes and laughs and hee-hees and ha-has on the video, purely because to me, that creates too complicated a contrast between the music and the people behind the band. Don't mind people having a laugh and having a good time, but it rids of the value and the legitimacy of the grimness I am, hearing, or the mindset I am experiencing as I listen to, The deeper lyrical contact, the romanticized, poetic, illustrative language that is utilized during the song by song by song basis. But with that being said, I'm signing out on that one. I think this is underrated. Do you think they're overrated, underrated? I think this is an act that would be great as far as the polarity of discussion we can have in the metal community. I'm signing out. Peace.